Nor'easter is underway in the Northeast, which is a good place to have a nor'easter, but it's not a big one. Certainly not for eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. Maybe more for southeastern New England. Severe weather and tornadoes. Well, that is. I put that there for a reason. Why is that there?
What's that?
um, put severe weather and tornadoes out across the deep south on this map, and I cannot understand why I did that, since the weather is not really producing severe weather and tornadoes. Oh well. I'll figure out and may correct the mistake. Let's get rid of this map. Probably won't get rid of the fact that this is the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. I must have used last night's open. I don't know. Anyway, if you'd like to support the, us poor people here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, you can do so by shopping our link at the top of the chat board. That's to Amazon. Just use that as your way to get your gateway to Amazon and do your shopping. And Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It's very simple. It doesn't cost you one extra dime out of your pocket, and it keeps the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast commercial free. That is bothering me a lot. Why did I do that? I have no clue. That I don't usually make mistakes like that, Joe.
Well,
Oh,
everybody
I
likes to
see
make.
what I did. Okay. Um, that's because I must have. I guess I did not save the new show open that I created in the right place. So that's the reason why I screwed up. Okay, you know what? These things do happen. And anyway, so let's move on. This is going to be a short show tonight. We're going to be done before 8 o'clock, as Joe has his talk tonight. Uh, Real quick, you go tell them what you're talking about.
I'm going to be talking to the Astronomical Society of Long Island about great comets of the past 400 or 500 years. It's one statistic I'm going to bring up, Joe, that in Major League Baseball, there have been 20,884 baseball players who have played in the major leagues, but only a few are five-tool players. In other words, players that can hit with power, run, field, throw exceptionally well. And if you can maintain that bit of brilliance for 12, 15, 20 years, you might just end up in the Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame. There are only 274 baseball players in the Hall of Fame out of, again, more than 20,000 who have played the game. So there's only about a little over 1% of all baseball players have ever made it in the Hall of Fame. Well, it goes the same with comets. There are many, many thousands of comets that have appeared in our skies over the last couple of centuries, and yet only about a small fraction, maybe only about 1%, have been designated as great comets. Comets that are stupendously bright, fantastically structured, beautiful tails, easily visible to the naked eye. And out of that small number is what I'm going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be looking at in this talk that I'm going to be presenting to ASLE, the Astronomical Society of Long Island, a look at some of these amazing comets with beautiful tails, brilliant, some so bright you could see them in the daytime, and they're pretty amazing sights. They only come around about once every 20 to 25 years on average. So the last really great comet for us was Hale Bopp, and that, believe it or not, was almost 30 years ago. So we're due for another great comet. And so if you get a chance to see this presentation, as the people at the Astronomy Club on Long Island will, you'll be prepared for the next great comet, whenever that may come down our immediate path.
Okay. In the meantime, you have a gloom and doom type day today, don't you? And tomorrow will be a gloom and doom type day.
Well, would you refer to it as gloom and doom?
What? Tomorrow?
Right, the weather that we're going to have tomorrow.
Yes, why?
Well, I mean, we're going to have clouds. We're going to have periods of rain. It'll be
Right.
rather gusty and windy. It's going to be 20 degrees colder than it should be at this time of the year. What
That's
else would you call it?
that's gloom and doom,
Yep.
right? Now, if the world were coming to an end because of it, then it would be doom and gloom as opposed to gloom and doom.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Okay, good. Some people get bent out of shape because I use that phrase. It's just that it's my way of saying it's a miserable day. You know, gray skies all day long. It rains. You've got a raw northeast wind. It just looks miserable outside. It just has that very gloomy, doomy look to it. So I call it gloom and doom. Meanwhile,
Bobby Livingsworth says Joe Rayo does not enjoy this kind of weather in late May. Who does? Who
right,
does? By the time you
exactly.
get to late May, you should have all this kind of weather behind you and look forward to bright blue sunny sky like you had today, Joe. And we're
Oh
not going
my
to see.
God, this was probably one of the prettiest days here that we've had all month. I mean, we've had a fair number of decent days. We've also had a fair number of days where it's rained. But I mean, it was just gorgeous here today. Blue skies, sunshine all day long. Dew points down in the upper 40s and low 50s, temperatures in the low to mid 70s. There was a nice northwest breeze all day. That's why I'm in my sweatshirt tonight because it's cooling off. We're down to what, 60? We're 69 not right now, and probably heading down for the upper 40s and low 50s by morning. And of course, by the way, my dog is
You know
like
what kind of a
usual.
day? You know what kind of a day it was for you, Joe? The way you just described it. It's this kind of a day. It's a silver dollar day.
It was. It
And
was. If I
in
did
case
take
you're
some,
wondering, in case you're wondering, this is a silver dollar going back to the 200th anniversary of this great country of ours, and Dwight Eisenhower, Ike, is on this particular silver
oh,
dollar.
very good. We,
So,
in the meantime, we, outside. It's been it's been severe weather all over the place for the last several days or longer, and actually today it's fairly quiet in the land of severe weather from what I was looking at. And in fact, as far as the watches and warnings go, I'm going to check those out in a second. I don't know, for some reason I'm feeling like I'm one step behind tonight. That 5 minute earlier start has my feng shui off. Yeah, I mean, there's very little in the way of watches and warnings. There's no severe weather watches and warnings at all. We've got a few flood watches up in Southwest PA and in a couple of counties in Western Maryland, and that's it. There's frost advisories and freeze warnings up in the Dakotas and Minnesota, and that's it. And the rest of the country is very, very quiet. But it just stands out here on the satellite loop. I mean, it's pretty much a solid overcast from North Dakota southeast through the Great Lakes, and then right through the Northeast and into the Mid-Atlantic states. Nothing but overcast skies, and most of the rain today behaved the way it was supposed to behave, which was, we mentioned this yesterday, that it was probably going to struggle to get north of New York City uh, all day long, and there wasn't that much rain at all on Long Island. I don't know how much rain you got there, but my guess is you didn't get a whole lot.
I don't think we really did get. I mean, we've got some light rain, and if we had more than, let's say, a couple of hundredths of an inch, that was a lot. We're still waiting for the main batch of rain to head our way, probably reaching us later tonight. Probably the heaviest rain for us will be coming from midnight tonight to about noontime tomorrow. And in that time frame, I would guess we're going to pick up anywhere between 1 and 2 inches of the wet stuff. So,
Yeah. Well, if you look on the satellite loop, you got the lightning strikes that were pretty active in Ohio, and then they moved into Western Pennsylvania, and then the lightning strikes just disappear because you're going over where there's a weather front in there, and the old low, which is in Northwest Ohio, and it's going to start to redevelop off the Delaware / New Jersey coast, and that's going to bring in the next surge. And actually, if you looking at the radar tonight, it's mostly light rain in patches over New Jersey, western Long Island, and there's some gaps in there too. And then you go up further into upstate New York, north of Route 84, and you start to get into a steadier rainfall, and especially as you head up into north central New York. Then there's a gap in eastern Pennsylvania, but those thunderstorms I mentioned now moving eastward, the thunderstorm part of it has died out, but there's some heavy downpours here in central Pennsylvania, and that extends down into central Maryland and northern Virginia. That area is going to be expanding and moving eastward. So that's the area that's going to come in, as you said, later on tonight, probably around or after midnight. It'll start spreading from west to east. And then, of course, the low itself is going to generate some more rain. And there's rain that heads back through the lakes and into Wisconsin and back through the Dakotas. It's a cold rain up there, too. Most there's just a couple of thunderstorms, or at least there were, along the Gulf Coast, but those two have died out. And you see all of the South is just quiet, quiet, quiet. Now, once this rain plays through, I think the next question is, how long is it going to take for weather conditions to get better? And I don't think much has changed in the outlook from that respect for the Northeast.
The Northeast, as you pointed out, um, probably with this particular system coming up. Now they had a tornado warning in the vicinity of Pittsburgh earlier today,
Right.
and that same area is pushing eastward toward our area, but don't expect any kind of significant convection here because the atmosphere just simply is too cool, too stable. What we're just going to be seeing here is probably just plain old rain. Right now, the temperature is probably around 48, 49 degrees where I am, and I mean, you get even a strong line of convection, and Joe has that outlined on the map right now. When that runs into the maritime or chilly marine air that we have over us right now on easterly winds, that whole area is just going to, or at least the convection, the thunderstorms are just going to peter out completely. It's going to be like hitting a brick wall for them.
Well,
So,
it already has.
yeah,
All the lightning strikes on the loop that were there, they just disappeared
yeah.
when they get
So
into
there
that
you
the
go.
cooler marine environment.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, it's going to get rain and bit of gusty wind. But if you're hoping for boomers, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, tonight the Storm Prediction Center has been busy putting out mesoscale discussions that severe thunderstorm watches are unlikely for various areas. I guess they got to do something. But we do have some small areas of risk: eastern North Carolina, northern Florida, and again, the radar is not really showing very much. They had a marginal risk up in southwest Pennsylvania, southeast Ohio, and West Virginia. That's already played itself out. And there's a small area of slight risk in northern Arkansas and southwest Missouri, and a marginal risk that snakes north from there into western Nebraska. But again, these are, pale by comparison to what's been going on over the last couple of days. I just want to check something here. So far today, there's been um, one tornado, 5 reports of hail, of wind, and 4 reports of hail. Now, yesterday, we had 28 tornadoes, 331 reports of strong winds, and 133 reports of hail. The day before, uh, this is on this is for the 18th, Joe. 38 tornadoes, 285 reports of damaging winds, and 256 reports of hail. So it has been busy, as I said, but again, today, definitely a break in the action. Now, tomorrow, Storm Prediction Center has an area of slight risk in north central into northeast Texas and southeast Oklahoma, and the marginal risk extends a little further east into Arkansas on one end and a little bit further west into West Texas on the other. Also, along the east coast of Florida, from the middle part of the peninsula down to the southeastern part, we have an area of marginal risk. And they do have a area of general thunderstorms from north of Boston to about your house to northwest Jersey, and then kind of running down and through eastern Virginia, and then it arcs, then it kind of fingers back North Carolina, South Carolina, into North Georgia and eastern Tennessee. Again, general thunderstorms, not severe. Probably, all having to do with the low developing and a front dropping down through the southeast. And then on day three, which is Friday into Saturday, a marginal risk for parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, and Nebraska, also parts of West Texas, and also parts of South Florida. But, although we've been seeing enhanced risk, moderate risk, uh, and even high risk in the last week or so, but we're done with. We're not going to be dealing with that, and there's nothing in the long range. WPC's got a front end loaded here. This is all with the system tomorrow in the 7-day rainfall forecast. Inch and a half plus from New York City eastward across southern and central New England, including Long Island. 3/4 of an inch to an inch and a quarter everywhere else. A little area of an inch and a half in central PA, mainly because of what's going on tonight. And we've got a larger area of rain indicated for from southern Kentucky, all of Tennessee, back through Mississippi, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, inch and a half to 2.5, and then in southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, and a small portion of northeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas. We've got an area of 4 to 5 inches. Is that 4 to 5 or 5 to just trying to match the colors up? No, that's 5 to 7. 5 to 7 over the next 7 days. So here's everything's kind of playing along. Excuse me, Joe. I got to sneeze here. Hang on a second. Oh no, it went away. Um, Low in northern Ohio is being forced to redevelop, and it will be doing that tonight. You can see the isobar closes off southeast of the Delmarva Peninsula, and a low forms there and starts to strengthen. The gradient tightens up along the immediate coast and stays tight through over Long Island and for New England, but particularly for southeastern New England. By tomorrow evening, the low is south of, I'd say probably south of Montauk. The back edge of the rain is just about pulling out, and then, kind of goes on its merry way into the Gulf of Maine. And the same problem behind it is that we've got the upper troughing is going to remain in place in the Northeast back to the Great Lakes over the weekend. That's going to mean for slow improvement. On Friday, there's some showers in inland areas. You can't rule out that there might be another shower. And the same holds true on Saturday, but then on Sunday they kind of disappear for the most part. They fire up in a few places inland, but it gets better as we go along. And Monday, Memorial Day, does look to be like the best of the 3 weekend days.
Yeah, I think we're going to start off on Memorial Day Monday with lots of sunshine, but already I think the next weather system, the next weather disturbance, may begin pushing clouds our way for later in the day Monday. But Monday will be a dry day, and as I agree with you, Joe, the better or best of the weekend, extended weekend days, temperatures should get back to normal by Monday, with readings locally in the lower 70s, which is just where it should be at this time of the year. Again, in stark contrast to tomorrow and Friday, where temperatures are going to be struggling just to make it much above the lower 50s.
Yeah, there is another low that's going to be coming out of the southern plains and across the Gulf states on Memorial Day, and in fact across the South. We are looking at some showers and storms. On Friday, there's an area that moves through Arkansas and into Tennessee and over into northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. And then on Saturday, actually, let me take that back. Friday, it's back in Arkansas and Oklahoma. I'm sorry, folks. For some reason, I'm like my feng shui is really off tonight. And then on Saturday, it's from Arkansas to Mississippi to Alabama, and then there's lower pressures start to come out from Texas. Some thunderstorms develop over Missouri Saturday night, and the European keeps showing this. I think this is indicating maybe a mesoscale convective complex here. Sunday developing in It starts in southern Missouri and then drops down through Oklahoma and Arkansas and moves straight south, which you don't see very often. But it kind of goes to show what you have with this blocking pattern, that everything is being forced to go south. And this line of storms, now we're into Monday night. I'm sorry, now we're into Sunday night into Monday morning, and we're still seeing, thunderstorms down there. It's probably going to be, SPC is probably going to have some kind of severe weather risk for this zone over the weekend, even though they don't have it in the long range. Initially, all that moisture gets suppressed, but you're right. By Monday afternoon, there's um, there's some rain moving into Kentucky and Tennessee, and that starts to lift northward for Tuesday. By Tuesday afternoon, it's into southern New Jersey and southern Pennsylvania. The European kind of takes most of that energy out just to the south. It forms a low over the over Chesapeake Bay, and then takes it out to the east rather than lifting it up to the north. So we'll have to see if that is, indeed going to be the case because of how the upper air is shaping up. And then afterwards, we'll get some lingering showers for Wednesday and Thursday, and then another front comes down from the north. One thing that struck me when I was looking at the upper air with this was the fact that it's still dropping troughs into the east. You can just go back. Here's what's going on tonight, tomorrow. Low cuts off the coast of Long Island and into southeastern New England. You got another cutoff low that's sitting up near Lake Superior. And, that takes forever to get out of the way. I mean, we're still dealing with it right through Sunday, and then we get a short break, and then another trough forms in the over the Great Lakes and starts to pivot around and drop southeastward. But this, instead of cutting off, just kind of slides east, and and that's because you've got energy from Atlantic Canada backing southwestward into Quebec. You got a fairly deep trough by the end of the week, right along the east coast. So it will be dry, but that's a chilly flow again. This is going toward the last days of the month of May. That's a chilly flow when your air is coming down from Labrador and coming into the eastern part of the United States like this.
I'm looking quickly at CPC, Climate Prediction Center. They still have, for the 6 to 10 day outlook, the Northeast, much of the Northeast in above normal or trending toward above normal precipitation. But by 8 to 14 days, we're back to just near normal. And it looks like a broad area below normal or drier than normal approaching from the upper plains and Midwest as we move into the early part of June. So maybe this pattern of rather wet weather will begin to diminish some as we move into the latter stages of next week. And maybe we'll have some drier conditions to look forward to when we transition from May to June. We'll see.
Yeah, the long range goes out to by June 5th. You've got a weak cutoff in the southeast, but it's basically ridging from the eastern lakes into eastern Canada and troughing that's well up in the Canadian West and dropping down off into the Pacific. So it's not it's not an endless parade of troughs dropping into the eastern part of the United States. It does seem to come to an end after we get through the last days of May and the very first days of June. So it's a bit of a pattern, a little bit of a pattern adjustment. Certainly would say that we probably will trend more toward, at least toward normal conditions, temperature wise, maybe even a little bit above normal once we get into past the first couple of days of June. So,
Yes.
all
Yep.
right. Let me come back to full screen here. Trying to think if there's anything else going on. And like I said, just a really pretty day. I finished, now that I've been working for 12, I went 12 days in a row doing my landscaping, and now it's done. So I found myself twiddling my thumbs for a while this afternoon.
Hey, after all the work that you do, after all the work that anybody does, after a while, and it's like that quote on the first Family album when Vaughn Meter's imitating JFK, and he and the First Lady are sitting in the White House on a Saturday night doing nothing, and he says, "I almost feel like I'd be doing something. I feel like I'm cheating the country."
Oh God.
Sometimes you don't need to be constantly working. You can sit down and relax, and you deserve that.
Yeah, you're right. Frank Scalera says the same thing. I need to relax. Well, I kind of did that today, but if I was so consumed with getting it all done. Now that it's done, part of me wants to find another project to do, but the other part of me is dissuading me from getting involved in another project. I think I'm going to listen to that other part. Um,
Understood.
you know. All right, so you got your talk coming up, so this will give you uh, a chance to get real, give you an extra
Take a
couple of
breather for
minutes.
5 minutes or a few minutes here. Um, and then I'll be on my way, and I'll be giving this talk is going to last for about an hour or a little more, and then there's Q&A. So I better get some liquid refreshment to help lubricate my throat. And I look forward to seeing you and everybody on the board tomorrow. And hopefully by this time tomorrow, the worst of this soaking will be behind us, and all we'll have to deal with is just the drab, lingering leftovers from later Thursday, Friday into Saturday before we dry things out completely for Sunday and Memorial Day
Is
Monday.
there a link for the show, real quick? Rich Rothmansky was asking.
Excuse me, I didn't. You
Was
broke
there
up.
is there a link for somebody if they want to come and watch it?
Well, there isn't a link, but I'd have to send it to you, and then you have to post it. But what I can do is they are going to record it, and when they do record it, I'll simply give the URL to you, and then you can post it. And if anybody wants to watch it, they can watch it that way.
Okie doke. All right. So have fun tonight, everybody. Be safe and have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow at 7:30 regular time, 7:35 p.m. Eastern. Night, night.
Nighty night, folks.